Quiet Riot, where we talk film, television, media with an emphasis on older films and nostalgic favorites. I'm Ainsley, and in today's video I am sharing with you 10 classic comfort movies in black and white. As you can tell, all of these movies are in fact in black and white, none of them are in color, and all of them were made before the year 1960. I do plan on doing some other lists about comfort movies that I gear towards, or ones that I just genuinely think could be comforting to other people, whether it is something you put on after work just to chill to, something to have into the background, or something that can genuinely cheer you up. These are all movies that I've seen before, that I absolutely love, and that I want to share with you. Before we get into the top 10 list, I did want to give some honorable mentions, beginning with the film The Thin Man, the one in which I have a review here on my channel, and I also have an entire catalog of videos for The Thin Man. You want to go check those out as well. All of the reviews are spoiler-free, and the first 4 movies are available to watch on HBO Max. I also want to mention the Three Stooges here. All of their material are short films that have been put on television as a television series of sorts, very similar to the Our Gang shorts and the Laurel and Hardy shorts, and a lot of them can also be found here on YouTube. I grew up watching the Three Stooges, and it's not only something that's very nostalgic for me personally, it's also just really comforting and great to go to when you need a pick-me-up of just 3 people acting like complete fools and doing crazy off-the-wall things and getting themselves into pretty ridiculous situations. Next up, I did already mention Laurel Hardy, and that is the next honorable mention. They have short films in both the silent and talkie areas, and they're funny, they're a great team, and you also get to see a lot of other silent actors, silent film actors, and people in early talkies make appearance in their works, and very similar to the work of the Three Stooges, it's very slapstick, energetic, and just is a good time. Now moving on to our top 10 list, I wanted to begin this list with a movie that I have talked about on this channel before, and you'll probably hear me talk about quite a bit more. It is by my favorite writer-director, Billy Wilder, and that film is Some Like It Hot. I have a full video on this talking about why I believe Some Like It Hot works, and I would love you to check this one out. I'll link it up here and in the description box below. But I'll tell you a little bit about it here as well if you haven't seen it before. The film follows 2 musicians during the Prohibition era that find themselves in a bit of a pickle when they witness a massacre likened to the St. Valentine's Day massacre. That's actually the massacre that it's supposed to be. And they end up pretending to be women in order to join an all-female band so they can escape to Florida and escape the clutches of the mob there in Chicago. The film stars Jack Lemmon and Tony Curtis, as well as Marilyn Monroe, Joey Brown, and has appearances by several other actors and character actors at the time. This is one of the best works from Billy Wilder, though he has an incredible catalog of movies, many of which I suggest you check out, but this is certainly the one I go to when I want a really good laugh. It has some amazing memorable moments and great performances by the actors, as well as just incredible direction and a great script by Wilder. Next on this list is Arsenic and Old Lace, starring Cary Grant, with a cast of characters including Peter Lorre and some other great character actors of the time. This slapstick comedy is not very well received by Cary Grant himself, as he's quite embarrassed by his performance in this movie, But I just think that wasn't the type of acting he really saw himself doing, but I think that he did very well in this. It is adapted from the play of the same name, which I sadly haven't seen before. Both of my parents had, and they say that it was really great, but this film itself is also wonderful. It's absolutely hilarious, and it follows Cary Grant, who is an anti-marriage columnist who's actually getting married to his neighbor, but when he comes in to see his aunt, he finds out that there may be a bit of a not so healthy brain problem going on in his family due to some circumstances that I don't want to give away. But I do highly recommend you check out Arsenic and Old Lace if you want to laugh, if you want to laugh, love slapstick, love Cary Grant, and just want to watch something that's incredibly good and silly. Next on this list, I want to share a short film with you. I was initially going to just have this all be feature-length films, but this specific one is one that I have watched multiple times when I'm in need of some good old-fashioned comfort, and that is the short The Pooch. This is an Our Gang short featuring Stymie and Spanky, Matthew Beard and George McFarlane, and it's genuinely one of the most adorable things that I've ever seen. You can find it here on YouTube, and I'll actually link it in the description box below. I quote this one almost daily. I like chocolate cake, a couple of pieces of pie. It's a genuinely sweet and enjoyable short to watch. If you know Audrey Hepburn or Gregory Peck, or both, you are definitely no stranger to this movie. And chances are you already know what I'm talking about. Roman Holiday follows a princess who decides to be a commoner for a day, and while she is out and about, getting her hair cut, dressing in clothes not fit for a princess, she runs into Gregory Peck because she's literally the luckiest girl in the world. This also won Audrey Hepburn her first Oscar. It's also her first film. She also won an Oscar for her first time on Broadway, but this is all well deserved as she is an incredibly talented young woman. Roman Holiday is one of my favorite films, and it's actually my favorite film featuring both Gregory Peck and Audrey Hepburn. It's hilarious and heartwarming. There's a lot of great scenes, and if you want to watch any film out of Audrey Hepburn's or Gregory Peck's filmography, I highly recommend Roman Holiday. Next on this list is one of the movies featuring Ginger Rogers and Fred Astaire, and that is Top Hat. This is their most well-received film, both of the time that it came out as well as to this day. It is still given so much love, and so I had to put it on this list. I love Ginger Rogers and Fred Astaire, and this movie is actually on HBO Max if you would like to give it a watch. I do plan on the future ranking all of the Ginger Rogers and Fred Astaire movies, but this is definitely one of the ones that just puts a little extra pep in my step. If you're somebody who loves a good misunderstanding in your romantic comedies, you might like this one, though the misunderstanding is a lot. I personally understand the specifics of the misunderstanding more than I have that appear in some films, or actually a lot of films and a lot of books, though this one makes a lot more sense to me the way everything goes down. And it's just genuinely a great movie with great chemistry between the two leads, great performances, some awesome dances, and just, it's all around a good comforting movie. Next on the list is one of my childhood favorites, and that is I Married a Witch, starring Veronica Lake and Frederick March. This movie follows a young witch who is executed along with her father in the Salem witch trials, and then finds herself taking over the body of a young woman who has died in a fire in order to get back at Frederick March's character, who happens to be the ancestor of the man who is the reason that she was executed in the Salem witch trials. Of course, a little romance ensues between them, and I just genuinely like this movie because I was a big fan of Bewitched, and so when I found this movie, I knew that I had to see it, and I absolutely loved it. This film is also available on HBO Max if you want to see it, and I actually have a copy that was, I'm pretty sure bootlegged, but eventually the The film itself is back in business. You can find it in the Criterion Collection. It is available to stream on HBO Max, and it's genuinely just a good, fun movie to watch, and a great movie with Veronica Lake and Frederick March, as well as some other great character actors. It Happened One Night is known as the first film to sweep the Academy Awards, and it is also the first full-length movie to be done during the era of the Hays Code, or to actually follow the Hays Code itself. And due to certain specifics with that, they they kind of started a trend within romance that exists both on film and in book, including the sheets between the beds. There's some other great memorable moments, some of the best moments, or what is considered some of the best moments in classic film, and there's also a story that suggests that it was Cary Grant not appearing in an undershirt that made the sales of those undershirts drop. Similar to the way John F. Kennedy not wearing a hat made hat sales go down for men. I really enjoy this film, especially if you're trying to get into classic films. I think it's a really great place to start. It's not something that's offensive, it's just this relationship between these two people who don't really like each other that much, and you see their relationship grows. So if you're really into romance movies and romantic comedies, I highly suggest checking this one out. Next on the list is another film starring Cary Grant that also happens to have Rosalind Russell. In this movie, we see Cary Grant and his girl Friday starring Rosalind Russell, and it's just a fun, good time, and a movie that I actually need to watch very soon because I haven't seen it in some time. It is available to watch on, I believe, various streaming services, and one of those may be HBO Max, though I'll make sure to let you know on the screen. Next on this list is really anything by the Marx Brothers, but I decided to put A Night on the Opera on this list as it is probably one of its most well-known. A Night at the Opera is actually available to stream for free on streaming services that I will put up on the screen as well. If you haven't watched anything by the Marx Brothers, they are a group of brothers who did appear in vaudeville similarly to the Three Stooges and other popular acts at the time, who ended up becoming successful film actors, mainly appearing together in films like A Night at the Opera, Animal Crackers, and much more. One of my personal favorites is A Night at the Opera, but if you don't just want to watch that movie, I highly suggest Animal Crackers and many of their other filmography. I'll list a couple more in the description box below and where you can watch them. And last but not least on this list is a movie that I have talked about on this channel before. I have a full video on it, and that is the William Powell and Carol Lombard film, My Man Godfrey. My Man Godfrey follows a young socialite as she brings in a houseless man into her life. He becomes the butler, and basically just craziness ensues. It's kind of a slapstick, but not overtly so in the same sense of others. It is also quite energetic, and I really do like the energy that Carol Lombard brings to this, especially in comparison to who William Powell is in this movie. I almost feel like William Powell is to Carol Lombard in My Man Godfrey as to what Myrna Loy is to William Powell in The Thin Man. This movie is really funny, has interesting family dynamics, and an interesting commentary on the relationship between the ultra-wealthy and those that are living in poverty and are houseless and who were just struggling to get by, especially in the time that this film was made and the time that these characters live in. But I do really, while it does have that commentary in it, it is still just something that you can watch for the pure enjoyment and comfort of watching it. This movie is available to watch on YouTube for free, as well as some other streaming services. I will link that in the description box below as well. And just be careful what you watch, because some of them are not Some of them are not well edited, so I know the one on YouTube, I will link it below to make sure that you get the best quality one to watch. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. I really do appreciate it. Let me know if you've seen any of these films or if you're excited to watch any of these films in the comments below. I would love to know. I have done videos on both My Man Godfrey and Some Like It Hot, but if there's some other films on this list that you would love me to do a single video on, please let me know. I would love to do it. And I hope that you decide to stick around. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to join the Quiet Riot here, please do, and ring the bell to be notified every single time I post. I would love to have you. If there's anything else you would like to see on this channel, please let me know in the comments below. If you have any questions or anything else you'd like to say, comments. I would love to talk to you. It would really help me out. Comments, likes, subscriptions. I'm really enjoying what I'm doing here with the Quiet Riot and just sharing some things that I like and talking about movies. It's one of my favorite things to do, and the fact that I have even a small little bitty platform of people who are interested in what I have to say really does warm my heart, and I'm happy to have you. Again, I will actually have the list in the description box below if for any reason you need it, but I've also have like the thing where you can skip to it as well, just so you know which ones I did mention here if you would like to watch them in the future. And if you do go ahead and watch them after watching this video, let me know. Thank you again, and I'll see you next time with the Quiet Riot.